Wherever Rosie O'Donnell's gone, she's probably eating a leprechaun. She's our hero of the day for leaving America if Trump won and relocating to Ireland, where she's still not funny. So many celebs say they're going to do it but never do. But does she have any regrets?
I have no regrets. Not a day has gone by that I thought it was the wrong decision. I was welcomed with open arms. I knew after reading Project 2025 that if Trump got in, it was time for me and my non-binary child to leave the country.
A battle of bold opinions and weak comebacks, Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly took Rosie O'Donnell to task, without holding back. This wasn't a debate, it was more like a roast, with Rosie at the center of it all. Gutfeld came armed. With sharp jokes, Megyn brought receipts, and Rosie, well, she brought confusion. If you enjoy a mix of chaos, petty drama, and someone getting completely outmatched in a war of words, this might just be your new favorite spectacle.
Well, join me now for Where Are They Now? Political Style. By the way, they never give you the real reason why they're leaving. Like Ellen DeGeneres says she was going to London because of Trump. No, it's because she was a monster and everybody hates her. That's the same thing with Rosie. You know why she's leaving, right? We know why she's leaving. Come on, we know. It's literally an ego trip. Once nobody likes you, you just leave.
Rosie O'Donnell, once a dominant voice in daytime TV, now echoes more like a foghorn that's just slightly off tune. Picture a career that rises and falls like a roller coaster built by a comedy crew, full of sudden turns, steep drops, and at least one forgotten seatbelt. That's Rosie in a nutshell. If being overly confident were an Olympic event, she'd be in serious medal contention. But let's not jump too far ahead.
And the City, their latest sequel. I don't know.
Oh, I know what this is. Oh, no.
I'm sorry, Jashinsky, but it's happening. It's happening.
Oh, no.
For the listening audience, we are about to see Miranda, the character played by Cynthia Nixon, who is so annoying, in bed with a virgin nun played by Rosie O'Donnell. I just threw up a little in my mouth. Go ahead, roll it.
Are amazing.
Oh.
I have never experienced anything like that.
Ew. Oh my God. I'm so grossed out, Emily. You have to talk.
Remember when Rosie ruled daytime television? Her style was a wild mix. Part Martha Stewart, part full volume confrontation, all topped off with moments that left audiences wondering, did she really say that on live TV? It often felt less like a talk show and more like a verbal wrestling match. She wasn't just hosting. She was swinging with words like a prize fighter fueled by espresso and motivational quotes.
America couldn't be happier, but like I said, she's our hero of the day for doing what so many other celebs don't have the guts to do. Wow, first Ellen, now Rosie. Makes you wonder what lesbian will leave next.
Came the next chapter, one nobody really asked for. Rosie shifted her focus, using every platform she touched as a space to vent. Whether it was politics, pop culture, or practically any trending topic, Rosie had something to say, and she said it with the grace of a bull in a gift shop. Subtle? Not quite. But predictable? Always.
Else betrays them. Not disclosing when you're in bed with somebody that you have herpes. It's important to disclose before you have interludes that you have the herpes virus. I'm sorry, Exhibit A, here is Rosie O'Donnell bitching and moaning about her favorite person, Donald Trump. I think this is before she moved. I can't keep track of where she's living in the world to avoid.
Enter Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly, two quick-witted TV personalities known for their sharp humor and sarcastic exchanges. Together, they've mastered the art of deflating inflated egos, one witty remark at a time. Watching them go after Rosie O'Donnell feels like watching a precision tool dismantle a clunky old machine. Predictable, oddly satisfying, and just a little bit therapeutic.
Told the world she has Donald Trump inflicted herpes from stress. And I wonder, Eliana, whether really there was a legal obligation there for her to disclose that to the character of Miranda.
I have to say she seems to be in a lot worse condition than Rachel Maddow and Nicole Wallace in terms of fighting fascism or whatever.
Yeah.
But
yeah.
I don't even have a response to that.
No, you
I don't think
can't. It's
anybody
stomach
wants to
turning.
see that.
It's too upsetting.
Anybody wanted
Donald
to see
Trump
that.
would never inflict herpes on Rosie O'Donnell. I think he's made that very
Rosie's
clear.
attempts at political commentary? That's a goldmine of confusion. She often tries to position herself as a passionate activist, but the result usually feels more like a lost tourist shouting directions in a city she barely knows. Imagine someone playing chess but only knowing how pawns move, then blaming others for being too strategic. That's the energy she brings. Her confidence is intense, as if every loud opinion or dramatic tweet is a prize-winning insight. But in reality, it often comes across more like background noise than anything meaningful. As for her social media persona, Rosie tries to lead online conversations, especially on hot-button topics. But more often than not, her tone feels more confrontational than constructive. If volume and outrage were signs of virtue, Rosie might win every argument, but they're not. Her posts tend to feel less like activism and more like someone giving a serious lecture at a party, only to order fast food mid-rant. The contrast is hard to ignore. Her infamous Twitter outbursts have become a category of their own, rants where she takes on critics with the intensity of a dramatic showdown. But instead of compelling arguments, it often feels like someone throwing a fit after dropping their dessert. Her digital presence leans less toward thought-provoking conversation and more toward shouting into a void that has long since stopped listening.
She seems miserable, and it doesn't really matter where she goes. She's trying to get away from whatever is inside her, because I looked at her and I go like, wow, she has changed.
I mean, she's changed, but she's also the same. But I love that she deported herself because she's so upset about the illegals being deported. So she deported herself, which is good for her. But I don't know if she really did her homework because Ireland has a ton of illegals.
Yeah.
In fact, Ireland and the United States are both actually right up there. England's not doing much better. So Ellen DeGeneres and Rosie O'Donnell, I guess, are where they should be. But I love that they actually did go forward.
Then there's her habit of pulling everyone into her personal storms. Whether it's former friends, celebrities, or the general public, Rosie has a talent for turning small disagreements into long, drawn-out sagas. It's the kind of drama that could fill years of daytime TV scripts. Yet somehow she doesn't seem to notice the growing lack of sympathy. Because when someone keeps casting themselves as the constant victim, eventually people start questioning the story. Greg and Megyn's takedown? It wasn't just a roast. It felt like a much-needed reality. Check. This is what happens when someone takes themselves too seriously, tosses logic aside, and lets their ego run wild. Their critique was sharp, humorous, and surprisingly precise. Rosie's likely response? Probably another rambling post or a passionate speech about being misunderstood by the media. Their remarks didn't just poke fun, they stripped away the act. Rosie often presents herself as a cultural voice, but beneath the flashy opinions and louder-than-life style is someone still grasping for relevance. Watching Greg and Megyn deconstruct her persona feels like seeing a sandcastle slowly dissolve under waves of reality. It's revealing and oddly satisfying.
My God. I'm so grossed out, Emily. You have to talk. I can't.
You're grossed out, but you're not sorry. You're just forced to.
Why should I be the only one who suffers? You all have to suffer. We're in it together.
I guess I saw it trending and I was like, oh, I can't click on this. I can't. And you know what? Actually, though, I think by watching it, it's just such an example of how bad the writing is on that show. Like the writing on some of these shows, it's like they put it into like progressive chat GPT and come up with just like the worst dialogue. It's so bad.
Interview Rosie O'Donnell's career is a reminder that talent on its own can only take you so far, especially when paired with an air of self-importance and unpredictable outbursts. What started as a promising media path has gradually shifted into a series of public spectacles that even reality shows might pass on for being too chaotic. Her recent attempts at political commentary feel less like thoughtful analysis and more like someone scrolling the internet at 2 a.m. and mistaking it for research. She tosses out bold claims with all the finesse of a toddler flinging spaghetti, hoping something sticks. Most of it doesn't, and the aftermath is a mess she rarely acknowledges. While Rosie may imagine herself as a voice for the people, Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly present a different reality. One where Rosie is stuck in a loop of echo chamber theatrics, waiting for applause that never comes. Their takedown isn't just a roast. It's a sharp and strategic breakdown of how years of outrage-based branding can unravel when met with wit, clarity, and zero tolerance for performative drama.
Clear.
Since Eliana refuses to play, Emily, I've got another soundbite for you.
I didn't even know Sex and the City was back on the air. I saw it when
it's happening. You have to react live to the herpes. I'm sorry.
And I was like, oh, you know what? The culture stuff, that's Emily's ballywick anyway.
Here we go. Yeah. Here we go. Here's another beauty. This is Rosie in another scene singing to Miranda. Enjoy.
Because I knew you. Because I knew you. I have been changed for good.
That's from Wicked.
I take your...
If Rosie O'Donnell's public image teaches us anything, it's the importance of handling fame with humility. From her early days as a daytime talk show powerhouse to her now infamous social media rants and political missteps, her legacy reads like a flashing neon sign. Don't let ego drive the narrative. That's where Greg and Megyn step in, as the calm, sarcastic voices who cut through the noise with laser precision. They offer exactly what Rosie's loud presence lacks: perspective. So the next time Rosie takes over your feed with another dramatic episode or dominates headlines with her latest opinion piece, take comfort. Greg and Megyn are probably already preparing their next clever response. That's the real entertainment. Watching well-reasoned sarcasm take on unchecked ego. And in that matchup, logic tends to win. Rosie remains a notable figure in pop culture, but more often as a punchline than a powerhouse. Famous not for insight, but for outbursts.
Rosie O'Donnell ditching the U.S. for Ireland in the wake of Trump's victory, and the president is responding. Watch it.
You know, you have Rosie O'Donnell. Do you know who she is? Do you know who she is? Yeah. You're better off not knowing.
Wow, hardest hit, not even knowing who she is. That one's got hurt. But she did prove that self-deportation can work, right?
Yeah, they'll find out soon enough when she gets there and eats them out of house and home. You know, I have this idea, and I'm going to give it to Fox Nation because that's the kind of person I am. You know the VH specials, Where Are They Now? Yeah. They need to do Where Are They Now for political moments. The legendary debate, Trump, Megyn Kelly, Rosie O. Where are they? So you have where did one catapulted to the presidency, one went to NBC and then to podcast stardom, and the other one went to the land of the potato.
Rosie O'Donnell has perfected anything over the years. It's turning nearly every platform she touches into a showcase of unintentional comedy. After decades in the spotlight, you'd think she might know the line between being bold and simply being exhausting. Yet she charges ahead like a runaway train, packed with outdated takes and recycled outrage. Her signature move? Creating controversy out of thin air, quicker than most people can brew a cup of coffee. Whether it's launching into yet another feud or reacting to critics with full-blown drama, she tackles every disagreement as if it's personal, pivotal, and worthy of center stage. It's the kind of energy that turns Twitter into a battleground each time she logs on. That's why Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly work so well together. They bring sharp humor and thoughtful commentary to an otherwise chaotic storyline. Greg, with his knowing smirk, and Megyn, with her sharp, measured delivery, break down Rosie's antics with almost surgical precision. They don't just respond. They reveal the layers of exaggeration, frustration, and noise. And honestly, the result is both eye-opening and undeniably entertaining.
Rosie is so outspoken. Imagine the horror in being a Democrat, like maybe a normal Democrat, like an old, blue dog Democrat, Eliana, and having one of the people most associated with your brand out there pointing to some huge growth right underneath her nose, saying it might be a pimple or it's a herpes, and then delivering an update, it's a herpes. I have herpes. Look at my herpes virus. It was caused by Donald Trump, and then asking us to picture her in bed with a vibrator and Cynthia Nixon. And then they're like, why can't we get young men on Team Blue? What is it?
Now, the thing about Rosie is she often tries to act like the moral compass of society, as if she's the last defender of truth and justice in a world gone mad. But when you look closer, it mostly feels like a cover for someone desperately holding on to relevance by throwing tantrums louder than any reality TV meltdown. It's like watching a toddler insist the sky is falling just because someone took away her favorite toy. Except in Rosie's case, the toy is public attention, and she's willing to shout endlessly to keep it. That's where Greg Gutfeld and Megyn Kelly step in with a roast that's not just funny, it's absolutely necessary. If Rosie were left unchecked, she might have us all believing that her latest Twitter rant is the intellectual equivalent of a Nobel Prize lecture. Instead, what we get is a spectacle of self-indulgence and a masterclass in missing the point entirely. Her political commentary, for example, is like watching a drunk uncle at a family barbecue try to explain quantum physics. Passionately wrong and painfully awkward. Rosie's takes on politics often feel less like thoughtful insight and more like a random collection of hashtags thrown together in a desperate attempt to sound woke. Greg and Megyn strip all of that away with their sharp humor, showing the gap between Rosie's self-image and the reality that most people just want to mute her. And speaking of muting, Rosie's attempts at being a social media warrior are something else. She treats Twitter like her personal battleground, firing off tweets like verbal grenades with the subtlety of a sledgehammer. She swings wildly at everyone, from celebrities to strangers, with an intensity that suggests she might be compensating for something. The problem? While Rosie is busy swinging, the rest of us are ducking and wondering how someone can have so much time and so little filter. At the end of the day, Rosie O'Donnell's legacy isn't just about her entertainment career or political comments. It's a cautionary tale about what happens when ego and outrage go unchecked. Greg and Megyn's roast is a reminder that fame without self-awareness is a risky mix, and sometimes the best way to deal with a loud, blustering figure is with humor and a dose of truth. So while Rosie may continue to yell into the internet void, know that somewhere, Greg and Megyn are ready with the next sharp-tongued takedown, reminding us why sarcasm is sometimes the only sane response to celebrity chaos. In the world of media meltdowns, Rosie O'Donnell might just be the star nobody asked for, but everyone loves to roast. And honestly, we wouldn't have it any other way.